Hi, I'm Dr. Tony Weston. Welcome back to I've Been Triggered, a guide to understanding and managing triggered states. Today, we'll focus on the freeze response, symbolized by the opossum. Unlike the fight or flight responses, the freeze response often manifests as immobilization, dissociation, or emotional numbing. While it can be a protective mechanism in times of extreme stress, persistent reliance on the freeze response can lead to feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, isolation, and difficulty taking action in daily life. In this episode, we'll explore what triggers the freeze response, how it manifests psychologically and physically, and how it impacts our well-being. 1. Triggers and origins of the freeze response. The freeze response is triggered when we feel overwhelmed by a threat or perceive that neither fighting nor fleeing is possible or safe. In these moments, our nervous system shuts down, leading to a state of immobility or numbness. This response often arises in situations of intense fear, trauma, or danger, where playing dead or becoming invisible might have provided safety or minimized harm. 2. This is a normal human response. The freeze response is a normal human reaction to fear and uncertainty. It often develops as a survival strategy in environments where taking action could lead to further harm. For those who have experienced complex trauma or repeated unpleasant experiences, the freeze response may become a default reaction. Individuals with avoidant attachment styles may also rely on this response to cope with the evocation of any strong emotion, retreating inward rather than engaging with the world. 3. Psychological defenses associated with the freeze response. Freeze response often involves psychological defenses that help maintain a sense of detachment or safety. Dissociation, a mental state where a person disconnects from their thoughts, feelings, surroundings to escape overwhelming emotions. This may include dissociation from their physical body. Emotional numbing, suppressing or shutting down emotions to avoid feeling pain, fear, or vulnerability. Denial, refusing to acknowledge distressing realities, effectively freezing awareness of them. Depersonalization, feeling disconnected from oneself or as if observing life from a distance. Avoidance of decision making, freezing in moments of choice due to fear of making the wrong decision. While these defenses may offer temporary relief, they often lead to further disconnection, anxiety, and difficulty functioning in daily life. 4. Psychological dimensions of the freeze response. Psychologically, the freeze response manifests as difficulty taking action, feeling stuck or unable to move forward, even when it's necessary. Cognitive fog, experiencing confusion, difficulty concentrating, or a sense of detachment from reality. Hypersensitivity to threat, remaining in a state of alertness or vigilance while feeling unable to respond. While the freeze response can be protective in moments of crisis, chronic reliance on it may lead to feelings of helplessness and low self-esteem. 5. Emotional dimensions of the freeze response. Emotionally, the freeze response is often characterized by fear and helplessness, feeling powerless in the face of perceived threats or challenges, numbness or emotional detachment, disconnection from one's own emotions, physical body, or from relationships with others, overwhelm, experiencing strong emotions internally without being able to express or process them. These emotional states can leave individuals feeling isolated and disconnected from their own needs and desires. 6. Behavioural dimensions of the freeze response. Behaviourally, the freeze response often shows up as inaction or procrastination, avoiding tasks or responsibilities due to feeling overwhelmed, withdrawal from social interaction, pulling away from friends, family, or activities due to feelings of numbness or fear. avoidance of conflict, freezing in difficult conversations, or when faced with confrontation. While these behaviors may offer temporary safety, they often reinforce patterns of isolation and disempowerment. 7. Physical and biological impact of the freeze response. The freeze response can have significant impacts on the body, activating a state of immobility or shutdown within the nervous system. Over time, this may lead to fatigue and lethargy, persistent states of low energy due to the body's response to perceived threats. Muscle tension and stiffness. The body may hold tension from freezing in moments of fear. Lowered heart rate and reduced activity. Unlike fight or flight, the freeze response may slow the body's systems to conserve energy. Understanding these physical impacts is crucial for recognizing and addressing patterns of chronic freezing. 8. Recognizing your freeze patterns. To better understand your freeze response, ask yourself, when do I feel immobilized or stuck? Do I tend to dissociate or feel numb during stressful moments? How does my body react when I'm faced with overwhelming situations? This awareness is the first step towards transforming the freeze response into a more adaptive, engaged way of living. 9. Compassionate understanding of the freeze response. The freeze response often develops as a means of survival during overwhelming or unsafe situations. Approach yourself with compassion. Acknowledge that it was a way to protect yourself when no other options felt available. Reflect on how it impacts you today, both its protective and limiting effects. Offer yourself kindness as you work to understand and change this pattern. In our next episode, we'll explore strategies for transforming the freeze response from immobilization, like the opossum, to adaptive, mindful engagement, like a dolphin. Thank you for joining me to explore the freeze response. In our next episode, we'll discuss how to move from feeling stuck to engaged, mindful, present. If you found this helpful, please subscribe and share your reflections. Together, we're building a path toward resilience and empowered living and a better world.